Hey everyone, Sparks back with another Goddess of Victory Nikke video, and Double D finally came home. If you missed my poll video, link to that in the description below. It's definitely worth a watch. Anyway, now it's time to move on to some testing and get some first impressions of her, and I think this is going to be pretty interesting. So real quick, before we actually do the test, I want to look at like what some of our old teams looked like, right? So kind of shells of the three strongest teams previously was something like this, with Tia, Leader, Alice, Black Shadow, and Naga. And then we had a like quick reload team, which this one has even more flexibility, but it would be something like Dorothy, Marshana, or maybe Novel, or there's maybe even Eleg, different things like that. Summer Niece, and Privity, and Scarlet. And then we had the Bunny team with Modernia, Red Hood, and Volume. So what does this mean for how things are going to change now? I think there's a lot of different options we can do here, but initially I think kind of the easiest change to make for our third raid team is going to be something like this. I have a team prepared for us here, and basically we are going to put her on the Bunnies team and take out Volume and put in D. Now, of course, when we get to solo raid, I think there's going to be a lot more things that will change here, and you know, there might be things that will change even more if we're trying to push hard mode campaign. You know, probably the highest damage one team is going to be with Schoolgirls. But let's go ahead and take a look at this. I put Maxwell on here just because she will buff Red Hood. I'm not sure if this is really optimal. We might end up just putting Modernia on this team when we're doing raids, or maybe even Winter Ludmilla. Of course, we've got like Shotgun team and other teams to even think about potentially. But this is what I think is just sort of like the easiest basic swap from those three major archetype top tier teams. So what I want to do is a test of her with the maximum skill version. What I meant to say is we will do a test with the lower skills first. Okay, so let's see what kind of damage we're getting here out of just base Double D. She, you know, doesn't have any skill levels. She just has basic gear on. And she is doing, or the team rather in total is doing a total of 302 million damage. And we can see the specific amounts of damage here. Red Hood really carrying this team. Yo, her back must hurt. Doing 197. So now let's see how much she can do with those maxed out skill levels. And this is what I'm going to really be comparing her to when we compare her to other rival Burst 1 units, because the other units that we're going to be using are already really built, and I don't have enough skill materials and stuff to invest in D at the moment. So I just want to see what the comparison is between, you know, a highly invested one and what isn't invested. And now we'll see the difference between this team with D, and then we're going to compare her to both Leader and Volume and see how this goes. All right, let's see what the highly invested skills on D does. Okay, interesting. So we're actually doing slightly less damage. So we're seeing a little bit of variance here in RNG, clearly. I wonder if this is coming... Well, even Red Hood did slightly less damage. That is really interesting. Okay, so let's actually run this one more time and see how the results are, if that was just a fluke. All right, let's see what happens this time. See if we actually manage to get higher damage. Side note, I love the actual, like, reticle that pops up the targeting symbol on screen. Nice touch. I love it when they add extra visual flair to the unit's burst skills. All right, what kind of damage did we get? 306 million. Okay, so we did actually increase damage, but not a ton. Let's take a look at the individual stats. Again, the vast majority of damage is coming from Red Hood. We are getting a little over a 10 million increase in damage on her. But, you know, this goes to show just how much variance there is in RNG, even in like a supposed, like, you know, comparable run where you're doing the exact same thing. Also, this might indicate that it's not super worth it just going all in on skills on your Double D. So let's go ahead and see what she's like now compared to some of the other Premier Burst ones. Okay, we're about to wrap up our damage here on the run with Leader and get a direct comparison with all level 10 skills. And the total is 310 million, which is 4 million more, okay? That is a very small difference. And, okay, so we are seeing a little bit more of a distribution of damage, so clearly D is very beneficial to Red Hood, but Red Hood is actually doing slightly less damage at 170 something million damage, but the whole team's damage is going up. So Leader is, you know, a much better, well, I shouldn't say much better, a slightly better universal buffer, whereas D is better specifically with Red Hood, and we're able to increase damage. Now, considering Leader is like one of the best, if not potentially the best burst one in the game, I know some people would argue Dorothy, but Leader is extremely good. The fact that D is doing nearly as much damage is pretty crazy. Okay, let's go ahead and now do a run with Volume. All right, final results for Volume. 307 million. That's higher than D's was, wasn't it? That's really interesting. Okay, let's take a look. All right, so we're seeing very similar results here. Very, very similar results. Okay, I wouldn't be surprised if, you know, we did this another couple more times and then we got lower damage. Again, there's a lot of RNG on like whether we're doing crits or if some of the Pierce attacks went through multiple enemies or not. There's a lot of different factors that could affect this. So I wouldn't just say this is definitive results here. Doing the shooting range is, you know, a very limited scope. We are about to do some boss testing here in a second, and there's something else that I want to talk about that there was some confusion on with her skills. But yeah, really interesting. I mean, Volume performed surprisingly well there. And yeah, I don't know. This is maybe unexpected, maybe not what you guys were thinking. All right, we've got everybody's favorite train up here now, and we're going to do a comparison with fighting the train with the exact same squads, but using Dorothy versus Double D, and we're going to see what the clear time difference is. Also, keep in mind, I have a highly invested Dorothy, and I can't use the trial run Double D, so this is going to be just a super base level Double D, and so, you know, there might be a big advantage for Dorothy, but let's see what happens. All right, train is down. Let's see what kind of damage we did, or what kind of time we got our damage in. Okay, total battle time of 45 seconds. Let's see what happens when we run the team with D. All right, there's a run with Double D. I'm expecting this to be a little slower. 58 seconds. Okay, so we do have quite a bit of difference here. This is 13 seconds slower, but honestly, still a really smooth clear. And considering that I have like Core 3 Dorothy with all max overloads, and this is like a no investment D, I'd say this is really looking good for D. All right, there's one final thing that I do want to talk about before we end this video. Okay, so I saw a lot of people talking online, comments on YouTube, in my Discord, people talking about how there was some confusion on the buffs that you get from D, and they were expecting it to only apply to snipers with Pierce or something. So I did this run with Modernia earlier in the morning, and we can see that Red Hood is getting both of the buffs from Kill the Target. There's one for hitting the body and then one for hitting parts, okay? So this is exactly what we would expect, right? We can also go over and check out Maxwell's buffs, and she also has both of the buffs for Kill the Target. Again, we're getting our attack up, and we are getting our core damage up. So should be no surprises there. So now let's see what happens when we just don't even have any snipers on the team. So here I was fighting Modernia again, and this time I just have 2B and Modernia. So let's see what the buffs look like for them. Take a look at 2B's first. And we have Kill the Target there. And Kill the Target. There we go. So we got both buffs. And then if we look at Modernia, kill the target, and kill the target. All right, so again, this is like exactly what I would have expected. Let's go ahead and actually see what her skill says now. So here's her burst skill. It's called Kill the Target, and let's read exactly what it says. Affects the enemy nearest the crosshair and deals final attack damage. Okay, so that's kind of its own thing. She hits it, and then it says she will inflict them with wipeout for 10 seconds, and then activates when allies' normal attack hits a certain area of the target affected with wipeout. Affects all allies. Okay, so buff takes effect depending on the area hit. Allies that hit parts, damage dealt when attacking core goes up by 11%, and then allies that hit the body, attack goes up by 8% of the caster's attack for 10 seconds. Nowhere in this skill does it talk about needing pierce or only applying to snipers, so I'm not really sure where this is coming from, who was saying this, but basically as long as you just like hit the body and a part, you know, you can be 2 separate shots or in the same shot if you have pierce. Just as long as you're hitting multiple areas, you're going to get both of those buffs. The only thing that does apply to snipers only is going to be in her skill 1 here, where it says affects all allies with sniper rifle. And yeah, so anyway, just wanted to clear that up in case anybody was still confused on that or wondering why that worked the way that it did. Anyway, D is looking very, very strong, although some kind of surprising results in testing there. Volume actually did a lot of damage. Leader, of course, did a lot of damage. There wasn't even a huge difference between the damage done with level 1 skills of Double D and level 10 skills. So, is she a good unit? Yes, a very good unit. I also think she has some of the fastest cooldown reduction, which is something that is really going in her favor. But is she like a must pull? I would say depends on the units you have. I mean, yes, as close as any unit could be to being a must pull, I would say get at least 1 copy. I'm certainly glad D finally came home. The curse is over. Double D has blessed me. And yeah, but she's not a super OP unit. She's a top tier unit, but I would say not really any better than the other really good options that we already had. Let me know what your experience is in the comments below. Let me know how your polls went. Don't forget to check out that video in the description to see how my polls went. It was crazy. And I stream every Tuesday and Thursday right now on YouTube and Twitch. Make sure you subscribe. Subs are super appreciated, guys. I know a lot of people watch my videos that don't even realize that they're not subs, so please double check on that. Also, something special coming up for channel members soon, so check the members only Discord chat for more info on that. All right, catch you guys in the next video or stream.